a lot of names I recognise there. So it's good to see you again, or meet you, so I suppose, in a virtual setting. Yeah, as far as says, look, the next 25 minutes, half an hour, I'm going to cover a wee section, presentation on coaching. Okay, so I'll quickly go through it. Okay, so the coaching is a big sphere, and I wasn't entirely sure what exactly to focus on for the presentation, but we've got a lot of questions in, as Park said there, so I kind of tailored my session basically on the question that you all asked. So this is three main areas I'm going to cover today briefly. Number one is just a couple of different coaching tips, and a couple of best practices. Number two, we have a couple of just key essentials for technique across the various shots in handball. And number three is like overcoming common obstacles. That's in terms of like coaching. So this was primarily based on a lot of the questions come in. A lot of questions come in on different issues they're having as coaches in handball settings. And then we'll finish off with the Q&A. So as Park said, I have tried to cover as many of your questions throughout my topic or throughout the presentation, but there's a couple that weren't included, so I'll discuss them at the end. Okay. But I will stop for a couple of minutes or a minute or two at the end of every one of the three sections for a question on that specific section. Okay. So just before we go into the session, this is a wee message I kind of like to use if I'm either coaching in the club or delivering coach education sessions. Essentially, it boils down to I want the session to be a bit interactive, a bit of involvement feedback from you as guests. Okay, so I don't really want it to be a 25-minute lecture, okay, because that'll just bore the head of you. I will try and include some visuals and some videos as well to help you learn. But the main thing is I want you to get involved with a couple of wee group tasks in the chat feature. So those of you who have used or been involved in the webinar before will know the chat feature, but there's a wee button down to your tab saying show conversation. So anytime I'm asking for a wee task or an answers, just go into the tab and type away. All right. So just straight from the off, we're going to start off with a wee task. A wee task, I just want you to type into the chat box what you think a coach's two main priorities should be. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a quick 30 seconds. And the delay, look, we have 23 online here. Daily, I would like to see 23 answers. Okay, so 30 seconds, way to go. What should a coach's two main priorities be whenever they're delivering or whenever they're coaching?
There's two people just coming in there, probably didn't hear that. Okay,
just so guys, those two who have joined, I'm setting a wee task into the chat box. I'm basically asking what should a coach's two main priorities be, and I would like to get answers from a good 20 odd people here. All right, so there's the first one. Start session fun, help the player improve technique, tailor the session to the needs and ability of the kids. Jared Kelly, make it enjoyable. Yeah, keep it coming. For not 10-15 seconds here, just get players reach their potential, have fun, improve the player, promoting the enjoyment of the game. Okay. A lot of people are a wee bit shy starting off, so hopefully the next task we come around we'll have more answers. Okay. So first I'm just going to go through my two. I suppose there's no right or wrong answers here, but I'll just quickly go to my first one. So first and foremost, you as a coach need to ensure learning takes place after every session. Okay, that is your primary aim whenever you're coaching. Okay, so if I'm coaching 10 kids and at the end of that session, I want my 10 kids to go home having learned at least one thing. It doesn't have to be a bucket load of things. It doesn't become 10 different points. One or two small things at the end of the session is suffice. Okay, so learn is your number one priority when coaching. Okay. Number two is, a lot of people said it there in the chat box, it has to be fun. And the two of them are a bit interlinked. Okay. If the child is not having fun or enjoying the session, they're probably just going to zone out, not really listen or take in what you're going to say, and so there's less likelihood of learning to take place. Okay. Then there's also in terms of coach themselves. if the coach is not having fun or enjoying their sessions, they're less likely over time to be motivated to deliver sessions and put extra effort in, which is going to be to the detriment of the kids in their session. Okay, so always aim to ensure learning takes place in a fun environment. Okay, next section just on coaching tips. Now, look, you spend all day talking about various coaching tips. There's that many, but I'll just kind of highlight a couple of key ones that I would feel be important, and what I would personally would try to utilize if I'm doing a bit of coaching as well. So first and foremost, look, you have to have a positive attitude and be enthusiastic. Okay, so we're talking about fun, and we sure the kids have fun. That just isn't just about playing fun games and we many competitions. It's down to you, the coach, as well, and how you come across and build relationships and have a bit of crack with the kids as well. Okay, because the bottom line is the kids will probably respond better to the coach that they're enjoying or have a bit more bit of fun with. Okay. Secondly, look, be punctual and organised. Look, this is a given. This shouldn't really have to be told. You kind of set an example throughout all your coaching, so it's very important to be punctual, never be late, and always be organised. Okay, it's just set a bad example from the off if a person is coming in late and missing equipment or there's no balls. Okay, so always try to be punctual and organised. Okay, very important. Look, I know it can be hard times, but it's very important to try and be inclusive where possible. And so this is one of the common obstacles that we're going to talk about later on, is how to be inclusive for the various levels. But at the end of the day, every child is different, and it's important to know that there and be able to modify your sessions accordingly. And again, look, encourage creativity and ask open questions. Okay, so especially if you're let's say you have 10 wee kids and you try to coach a sidearm technique and you just ask everybody, did everybody understand it there? And the likelihood all just going to say yes, but deep down probably half of them haven't a clue what you're talking about. Okay, so ask open questions, probing questions, and test the learning as well. Okay, just don't take for granted what you're saying has been taken up by the kids. Okay, so this big graphic probably wasn't the best for a sporting setting, but it's the best I could get involving parents. Okay, and again, this came up a lot with questions and common issues that coaches are having or clubs are having. Are parents important to be involved in the club? Bottom line, yes, of course they are, and that's for two reasons. Number one, if a child, one of your children in your group has a supportive parent, the more likelihood is that they're going to stay in and play handball long term. Okay, but there's kind of a second benefit as well, is that if your parents are involved in your club, there's no reason why they can't become actively involved and playing members or even administration members as well. Now, I'm speaking in terms of my own club, and I see one of the fellas here from my own club who was a parent and got involved in the club, and now he's ended up being club secretary. So there is a lot of benefits, and it is very important to involve your parents of the kids. But I suppose the question is, how do we do that? So just a couple of key points, and again it goes back to, we talked about building a relationship with the kids and having a crack and getting to know the guys' names, and it's the exact same thing with the parents. Okay, make sure you learn their names, you say hello to them, you're courteous every time that they're dropping their kids off, and you build a relationship, because the bottom line is it's hard to say no to somebody that you like and you're making conversation with on a weekly basis. Okay, so we had a session there a couple of weeks ago on recruiting volunteers, and I think it's Oliver Keaton delivered it. He was a tutor. Basically, kind of said that one of the key reasons why volunteers don't get involved is because they weren't asked. Okay, so if you want to get your parents involved, simply ask first and foremost, and look, at the worst thing you say is no. Okay, all we do is put a wee rota in place. So if you have 8 kids, make sure one kid's parent has to stay at every session. So if you have 3 sessions a week over 4 weeks, essentially you're asking a parent to give up 1 hour over 4 weeks to attend a session. Okay, so that way you're on the slide, get them involved and get them a bit more involved with the club. Okay, other options is, there's no reason why we can't get the parents playing as well. There's a lot of parents, and I'm taking my own club again, there's a lot of parents that are playing now that only get involved in the club through the children playing. Okay, Then I suppose the last one is upskill. A lot of parents mightn't feel that they are confident enough to know the rules, or in terms of coaching, the various different skills of handball, they're unsure of what to do. So offer to upskill them. We have lots of different resources and coaching courses as well. But I'll go through later on. Before I go into the next few section, has anybody any questions on any of that? You can feel free to put your hand up or go into the chat, or talk into the whole group. Before I move on, I'll give you 20 seconds. Feel free. Nope. Okay. As I said, if anybody come in late, I'm going to stop after every wee subsection and to ask questions, but we can do a Q&A at the very end as well. Okay, so the next section is just on technique, and we're just going to focus on a couple of key coaching points that are consistent across all types of handball. Okay, so again, I'm just going to go into the side wee task in the chat box. I simply want you to list down a couple of the key coaching points across any of the strokes in handball. So you can see that in the wee visual there, Paul Billy demonstrating the sidearm stroke, the underarm stroke, and the overarm stroke. So the question is essentially, list out some key coaching points across the three stroke types in handball. Okay. Okay. I see Paul Flynn, you have your hand up there. Do you want to talk? Come on, head in.
Sorry, Darragh, just a quick question in the chat. Is it enabled for everybody? I can't seem to find it on my screen. I don't know if anybody else has that problem.
Oh, Warwick, any advice?
Yeah, it should be. Just look, see, to check any settings.
Should be enabled because there's a couple of hours enabled, or in the last few box. Okay, Ben.
I'll log out and come back in.
Ben Woods, have you your question there? You have a hand up?
Yeah, I can't get access to the chat.
Okay.
We'll see, does Paul get back in, Ben? Hold on, see, does it work for him when he comes back in?
Yeah, dead on. Hold on.
Only radio is here. Can't get in. Any other guys? Is your chat box? Some of the guys who commented early on, Colin, Jared, Pat. Is your chat box still working?
Yeah, there's Paul back in now. So Ben, maybe he's going to go out and come back in.
Yeah,
A bit of interference here, Park. Can you hear me clearly, or is it?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly, yeah.
All right, guys. We'll give it another 30 seconds. A few guys are logging out and logging in to see if they can get into the chat feature. Okay, so a couple of answers coming in. As a key coaching point, body position, face the front wall, your footwork, cupped hand, follow through. Position of your feet, hand is in the ready position. And anybody else? Don't be shy. No right or wrong answers here. Give it another 30 seconds. Give them on pass. You're flying here. Flying the ball. Out of position towards the wall, contact the ball in mid-body, cupped hand, transfer the body. That Pidgeman has attended a foundation handball coaching course recently. Shift your weight, midline of body. Yeah, okay, spot on. So look, you're all on the right line. So I'm just going to quickly go through 4 of the key coaching points across the various stroke types in handball. So number 1, obviously, is your hands cupped. Okay, so yes, of course, in handball, you can't close your fists, and you will find that a lot of kids, smaller kids, will use their fists just to get a bit more power. But you always want to get that out of them at an early age and get them hitting the ball with the open hand. Okay, so one of the questions that came in during the week was how to make sure I hit the ball and it doesn't hurt my hand. Okay, so the answer is simple. Number one, yes, your hand is cupped, but number two is you want to avoid a slapping motion whenever you're hitting the ball. So at a point of contact, you want to flick the wrist and the ball should roll off your fingers. Okay, so that's how you stop the ball from hurting your hand. Okay, so again, just repeat that. You want to avoid a slap motion. You want to flick the wrist at the last minute and the ball to roll off your fingers. Okay. So number 2 and 3 are a wee bit linked. You always stand sideways. So if I'm hitting the ball with my right hand, my left shoulder faces where I want to stand. Okay. Number 3 is you transfer your weight from back foot to front foot. So essentially that is just stepping into the ball. Okay. So 2 and 3 are kind of linked, but essentially they're all about your footwork. Okay. Your footwork is the single most important fundamental for hitting any shot of handball, because no matter if you have good hand skills, if your arm swing is all spot on, if you're not moving your feet into the right position, your execution is not going to be good. Okay. And I'll read a couple of slides now to explain that better. Number 4, you always strike the ball in the midline of the body. So basically, at the point of contact, you strike the ball in the midline of your body. Okay. So, I'm just going to talk about a wee bit about our footwork. Our pre-shot position. Essentially, your pre-shot position is where you want to be in before you hit any shot. Okay. So, we video or an image of Paul Brady hitting a shot here. So you can see there, Paul is stepping back into his pre-shot position, which is approximately 6 foot from where you want to contact the ball. Okay. And that, if you get into your pre-shot position good and early, that allows you to transfer your weight and step into the ball. Okay. So again, you can see Paul starts sideways, left shoulder facing the direction of the shot. And if you can see on the first image, Paul is loading his weight onto the back foot, and once he steps forward, he'll be transferring weight onto his front foot. Okay, and essentially, the main reason why you stand sideways and hitting this helmet shot is because it allows you to drive your weight forward in a positive manner. Okay, and this will help you increase your accuracy and your power of a shot. Okay, if you stand face forward, essentially you can't transfer your weight forward because you're only going to stumble. Okay, that's why it's important to stand sideways. And then lastly, strike the ball in the midline of the body. Okay, so we have the 3 stroke types here: the underarm, the overarm, and the sidearm. But you can see at every single stroke type, at the point of contact, the ball is struck in the midline of the body. Okay, and look, it's not rocket science really. The reasons are quite simple. If you strike the ball before the midline, the ball is likely to go lower than you want, or more often into the floor. If you strike the ball off the midline, the ball is more likely to go higher than you want. Okay, because you're following through. Okay. Has anybody any couple of wee questions on the technique section? Are we happy to go on? Anyone clarity and anything else? Okay, silence, stopping, no. Okay, so third wee section on the strategy presentation is basically overcoming obstacles, and this is kind of like common obstacles that helmet coaches would face. And I suppose from that wee visual, you can see that's probably the most common one. One coach and one player on the court, and 20 odd kids waiting around. Now, you probably wouldn't have that many numbers in your helmet session, but essentially it is a common issue with dealing with large numbers. Okay, so again, this is not a thing that came back with a lot of questions. How do we deal with these 2 issues? So two issues we're going to cover now are: 1, how to deal with large group sizes, and number 2, how to deal with varying ability levels within your groups. Okay, so we're going to go back to the chat. Sorry, I see someone said can't see what you see. Still on the technique slide. Can everybody see we're on the overcoming obstacles slide? Is that Joe?
Yeah, it's me, Darragh.
What do you see there now, Joe? On the overcoming obstacles.
No, still the technique slide.
Okay. What about everybody else? You technical issues tonight? I see a couple of other guys can see it overcoming.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, we're just going to go ahead here now and just focus on section 1 there, so this is large group size. So I'm going to, before I give a couple of answers and different tips on how to overcome or deal with large group size, I'm kind of keen to understand what you as coaches are doing on the ground level. So again, for 30 seconds, like a minute or so, will you jot down some ideas in the chat box of how you deal with large group sizes within your own clubs. Don't be shy. Don't want to see some new names commenting here. So how do we deal with if, for example, we're in the 40-20 court and we have 15, 16 kids and one coach? How do we overcome that to make the most of the session? Okay, so that's the first answer in. Split the groups in varying games in the court, different skills. Yeah, spot on, Darragh. Kids, you spot and fix. Anybody else? Well, what are you doing as coaches at the ground level to overcome large group sizes? Working pairs. Try to provide enough sessions to keep sizes manageable. Yeah, good, Nathan. Breaking smaller groups. No more than 8 presents for the period. Anybody else? Set a large group for 1 session. I split the group in 2. Breaking the smaller groups. Okay, yeah, so look. Team games, point captains, many teams. But that's spot on. It's encouraging to see everybody's dealing with this issue quite well. So I'm just going to quickly go through a couple of options for those who asked the question during the week. Okay, so look, first and foremost, the obvious one is to split the groups or split your court into wee mini sections or different courts. So I've kind of drafted an image here of the small court and 60-30 court. So there's no reason why you can't split the courts up into 2 for the small court and 3 mini courts for the big court. And look, yes, of course, it's not the traditional handball of playing in the full court, but the benefit of this is that the kids are getting a lot more touches. They're a lot more active. There's less time standing idle. They are developing technique with both their left hand and the right hand. And the big thing is you want to avoid the amount of time a kid stands in a line waiting. Okay, there's no benefit if you have 8 lads in a group and a couple of lads spend 20 minutes of that 1 hour session just in a line waiting. Okay, that's just not productive. All right, Kevin has his hand up there. Have you a question, Kevin? Print your name. Okay. Okay, maybe you missed. Kevin, have you a question there? You have your hand raised? Okay, we're going ahead. Okay. Yeah, so look, all the issues of the groups and how to combat group sizes. And again, guys, there's nothing really rocket science here, but sometimes a wee bit of reinforcement or being pointed out obvious again does no harm. So obviously, look, split the court into many courts or different stations. You could even have different activities going on in 2 or 3 different stations throughout the court and constantly rotate. Okay, it is very important throughout your session to keep the kids engaged, because kids have a short attention span. Okay, but if you only have an hour, it's important to be productive within that hour. Okay, so if you can't keep your kids engaged through enough mini games or different restations, we can certainly keep them involved through a bit of refereeing. If there's 2 lads onside out of a mini game for 2 minutes, no reason why we can't give them a different retask or a skipping task or bouncing the ball with the left hand, become a referee, become a line judge. Okay, it's very important to keep them involved throughout. And then look, the third point there, a lot of these have said as well, and I know a lot of handball clubs are limited in terms of the number of coaches they have available and in terms of catering for the numbers, but it might be worth considering splitting your group into 3 sessions. Okay, so this is essentially a quality v quantity argument. So if you have 16 lads in a 1 hour session, for the sake of an extra 20 minutes of your time, it might be worth splitting and have 2 groups of 8 for 40 minutes, okay, and having a good quality 40 minutes that the kids are getting lots of time on the ball. All right. I'm just going to quickly go back into the chat again, because I want to go back to the second point, which can be quite tricky to do, but is how to dealing with varying ability levels within a group. So you might have, again, 10 lads or girls in a group. 2 or 3 lads are very strong, a couple of lads are average, and 2 or 3 lads are very weak. How do we go about dealing with that? How do we modify our session accordingly, or do we even bother? So again, if you have 30 seconds to a minute in the chat box, I'd like to know what you are doing at local level to combat this. Again, there's Darragh first one in. Pair same ability levels together. Yeah. Different targets for each individual. Stronger with weaker. If the group is best you can, give one group task complete, work with our group, set conditions. Players active bounces, similar abilities together, split the groups together. Yes, look at a lot of split different times for different abilities. Everybody's on the right wavelength, which is encouraging. So go back to a couple of only additions. So obviously split the players into many groups and sessions based on the development needs. So if you have 10 lads, and maybe put the 5 or stronger lads into one session or into one court, and the other lads into our group court. Because the bottom line, it is very important that all players are challenged. Okay, not just the good players, but also the weaker players. So I just want to be careful in terms of that there. Like we're talking that it is important that all players are challenged. Okay, so if you have the 5 best lads in one group, and then the 5, let's say the weaker lads in another group, at some stage in your sessions or throughout your training period, the weaker lads need to get the opportunity to mix with the stronger lads as well. Okay, I wouldn't say totally segregate them, because if the weaker lads aren't getting the opportunity to mix and play with the stronger lads, then they're not getting the opportunity to be challenged themselves. Okay, and progress. Okay, but look, I suppose the key and the obvious one to do to cater for different ability levels is to condition your games, and that's just kind of variances of like space, task, equipment, and players. And it may be daunting enough, but essentially it can be quite simple. So you can condition players. Everybody can be playing the same game, but maybe the stronger players can be forced to use a weaker hand only, or have 1 bounce when the weaker players have 2 bounces. So many different variances, because kids love games. Kids love a wee bit of competition. Okay, so I personally find different mini condition games are your best way forward. Okay. Has there been any wee questions on them two? That this section and overcoming common obstacles, or has there been any other obstacles that they'd like some ideas on? Everybody seems to be on the right wavelength here now. Okay, no, spot on. So one of the questions that came in during the week was basically asking about coach education opportunities in Hamble. So one last slide here, I want to talk about the various options we have. So this is the coaching pathway for GA Hamble. Essentially, there's 3 different course types. So your first course is essentially a wee introduction to Hamble. Is what we deliver in a lot of schools, and GA clubs are just starting up Hamble. A wee simple 2-hour free of charge in service. The 2 certified courses we have are our Foundation Award, which is a 1-day course, and our Level 1 Award, which is a 2-day course. We deliver these in clubs, in counties, in provinces, in regions, whatever there's needed. We just essentially ask for around 16 people to attend. So if any of your clubs are wanting a bit of coach education, or to upskill the new members or new parents, just give us a shout, and we can organise a course in your own host club. Okay. Has there been any questions on the coaching pathway for GA Hamble? Or has there been any other obstacles that they'd like some ideas on? So one of the questions that came in during the week was basically asking about coach education opportunities in Hamble. So I suppose the only issue with I think we have 7 or 8 national tutors delivering coach education courses for GA handball across the country, which not really ideal. And I see a couple of guys are online here tonight. So we have produced a lot of coaching manuals on the national website gahandball.ie. There's a wee kind of snapshot. So basically, every one of these coaching manuals are available free of charge. There's no cost at all. There's no limitations. They've been developed to help our club members, so feel free to go in and use them. Okay. And then last but not least, we do also have video resources. We have a wee coaching video series that I hope everybody is aware of, because it took a lot of time to develop. And then we also have a lot of match footage uploaded of our recent finals to YouTube. So this is again a basic overview of our coach education and resources. Okay. Just going quickly go into these are a couple of the Q&As. I haven't listed who actually asked the questions, but if you're online and want more clarity on my answers, feel free to pop in. A couple of questions come in there late to me tonight there that I never got included in my presentation. So if your question is not listed here, feel free to pop on and ask it. Okay. I did try to cover the vast majority of the questions throughout the content, but these are a couple of ones that I don't think I did. Number one was how do you achieve the technique fun balance for all age groups? I suppose it has to be fun throughout all your sessions, not just for the younger ones or for under 10s or under 12s. It has to be fun throughout on the 14s, 16s, 18s, the whole way through. It has to be fun. Let's go back to your 2 key priorities as coach. All your sessions have to be fun. Okay, so I don't necessarily think they have to separate fun from technique. Okay, so I know a lot of technique might just be repetitive drills, but if we can make that a wee bit more exciting, adding a wee bit of a competitive element, or adding equipment, adding like markers on the wall, hoops, targets, skittles, something to knock down, and kind of make it a bit more fun. But I don't necessarily think it has to be a separation from technique and fun in your session. Okay. Number 2, do you have any useful drills for a novice player to practice on their own? Now, whenever for novice player, I kind of took this up to be an adult or beginner. So that is what my answer is based on. And same again. Look, there's no point going through. A lot of your skill work on your own will be the standard boring repetitive drills, or throwing drills or striking drills. Okay, but same as the last question. We can add a bit of excitement or a bit of fun into this by having equipment, setting targets in the wall, setting targets on the floor, and aiming to put the ball into to make it a bit more exciting. Okay. I do have a couple of wee documents that I actually never concluded in the session here, but I can forward out with a lot of different condition games that I'll forward out to all the attendees here tonight afterwards. Number 3 was, what do you consider to be the most important basic technique in handball? I actually think I covered that in the session. To me, your footwork is number 1, okay? Because as I said earlier, and unless you're getting into the right position, no matter how good your technique is in terms of your arm technique or your left hand or right arm, if you're not moving your feet into the right position, then your shot technique is going to be off balance and not effective. Okay, so your footwork is so important. Number 4 was drills, games for groups of 15 at a time of similar ability in the big court. So I suppose we kind of help that a wee bit in terms of we can split the 60-30 into 3 or 4 wee smaller sections or mini courts and play many games, as opposed to having 11 lads wait at the back of the court. We do have a lot of wee games. It's kind of hard to explain over a webinar, but we do have a lot of wee games listed on our fundamental booklet. Again, that's on online. But we games called cross court or 2-bounce or down ball, kicking a court, keep the rally going. If you're working with big numbers, all these mini games are kind of aimed at getting large numbers involved and getting lots of shots both left and right hand. Okay. Number 5. warm-ups, how long, and any tips? Warm-ups, if you're in an air session, no more than 10 minutes is required for a warm-up. But the tips was, look, why do you warm up? You warm up to kind of get the body warmed, get the body loosened out. Tip wise, make it fun. It doesn't have to be running around in a circle, doing laps or doing sprints or just doing a bit of stretching. I would recommend a bit of dynamic warm up. Make it fun, playing a wee mini game, making matches specific. Or even doing a wee bit of skipping. Okay, this is all the kind of stuff that I would incorporate both in my own warm-ups as a player, but also whenever I'm coaching younger kids. Number 6 was the lack of quality coaches who have played the game and can relate to new players. Okay, so this is an issue one of the coaches was having, that they felt there was enough quality coaches available in their club that had played the game and can relate that experience to new players. I suppose that's a hard enough one to combat if a club hasn't got former players as such. But there's no reason why we can't, as a club, invite guest players in. It's something my own club has done numerous times. We've invited top players from as far as an hour and a half away to come in and maybe once a month and deliver a session just to spruce up the excitement with the players and the coaches. But it's also, there's no reason why you, the player, can't travel as well. Again, speaking from my own experience, I grew up in Tyrone and travelled to Belfast, Cavan and Armagh maybe once or twice a week just to get games with top senior players. So there's no reason why that can go both ways. The last question that came in there was, should a beginner age 7 or 8 serve with sidearm or underarm? And I suppose there's no right or wrong answer here. Personally, I would say stick to the underarm at that age, and that's primarily based on a 7 or 8 year old who's playing with a wee softball, and it's going to be hard to get that sidearm hitting that challenger ball over the short line. The sidearm is best to use for a low serve, and it's going to be hard to serve that ball low. So time enough, I would say at that age, 7 or 8, starting with your underarm. All right. Okay, so that's a lot of my questions covered. If I missed anybody, or if any of the late questions came through, I apologise. I hope you found the session of some interest. I went a wee bit longer than I had anticipated for. I thought it'd be a 15-20 minute job, but has anybody any questions? If you're willing to go into the chat box or come in and pull your microphone, feel free. If anybody wants any clarity on any of the different things, feel free to give us a shout here now. Always, thanks very much, guys. Hope you. First one. Do you have any advice on coach talk time in sessions? Is that Joe again? Joe, do you want to come on online there just to clarify what you mean?
No, it was Paul Flynn here from Carlstrand.
Paul, sorry, yeah.
No, that's no bother. I suppose we're always trying to encourage people to help out, and we're a young club trying to get it off the ground. What we find is that limiting the amount of time a coach talks for, especially with kids, they tend to switch off when the coach tends to talk for too long and having a short, sharp message. But when we say that to the volunteers we have, it doesn't really ring true. I'm just wondering, is there a document or an advice, a piece of maybe a one pager that says about coach between communication and players and limiting talk time? I wonder, is that something that's there?
Yeah, it's not something we have developed at the minute, Paul. Probably maybe something we can look at. I suppose from coach from my own experience, and you probably know this yourself, you kind of cover it as well. You want to kind of limit your talk time as well. Don't be overburdening your players with too much information. Say 1 or 2 snippets. If you can't get your message across in 10-15 seconds, and you're talking too much because the kids will zone out. But there's no document that I know of, Paul, to be answering your question. Sorry, but maybe I can look into that for you.
No bother, thanks.
And throwing the ball is good for warm-ups and improving technique. Okay. Even should they learn with both arms at a young age to serve? Personally, I don't really see much point developing a serve with both hands, because it's incredibly rare that you'd see any, let's even the top players, to change hands to serve. It'd be very, very rare. But I would say from a very young age, I would encourage you throughout all your mini games to try and develop your weaker hand. Don't just leave the weaker hand idle. If it's a silly wee mini game or throwing drill and you're doing it with your right hand, make sure you do the exact same thing with your left hand from the off. But I wouldn't personally, maybe people will disagree with me, I don't personally see the need to develop a serve with both hands. Okay, guys. So if nobody has any more questions, look, I can call tonight, or you can stay online and ask, and feel free to head off as you wish. Marguerite, encourage children to watch Hamel games in the club county and the online coaching videos. Yeah, so look, Marguerite's one of our tutors. So how you doing, Marguerite? Look, yes, it is very important, and the same thing I was saying earlier, but it's very important for the weaker players to go and get a chance to compete with the stronger players. And it's the same, you want your children to be able to see what handball is like, or can be played like at a higher level. And if you have the opportunity to do that there live, yes, make the most of that as much as you possible. If you can't do that live, as Margaret says, we have a lot of stuff online, and that is the reason we kind of keep on top with our online or YouTube channels, so we make it accessible to watch the top players in Ireland and the world play. Okay, guys, that's me done and dusted. If anybody has any more questions, you can stay online or drop in the chat box. All not there, thanks very much. Next week, I think we have a topic on social media by one of Jay's social media staff, Lisa Hayden. So very worthwhile, and another avenue that clubs should be utilising more. If anybody wants any more information on anything to do with coaching development, there's my email address, development.humble@ga.ie. Feel free to give me a shout at any time. Okay. Again, thanks very much.
Thanks, Darragh.
That box was exploding, Darragh.
How's it going, lads? Can you hear me there?
You can, Shirley, yeah. Darragh?
Darragh here, yeah.
How are you, Darragh?
I've been trying to... Good, lads, good. I've been trying to get into that chat box throughout the last couple of sessions, and it's saying that the administrator has disabled messaging for one or two devices.
Okay.
I tried to log out. I think I hung up and I came back in, and I still had difficulty getting into it.
Okay. I'm not entirely sure, Darragh, what the problem is, but Horace, you can have a look at that there going forward. Was it every webinar, Darragh, you couldn't get access to?
Yeah, I didn't try to write anything the first couple, but the last two I've attended, I haven't been able to get access to it. It's saying something about the administrator not allowing access for one or more devices, I think it says.
Can you send me that in an email, Darragh? Because you're just breaking up a wee bit. Yeah. Exactly what it says.
I'll do that, then. I'll do that. Yeah, I'll email you, and maybe we can figure it out next time around. I'll have a play around with my own set as well.
Sorry about that, Darragh. A couple of guys had issues there as well at the start of that chat box, so apologies.
No, it was great, lads. It was very, very helpful. A lot of what was said, and again, you gain good knowledge from a lot of the questions asked as well. You know, so it'd be nice to be able to take part with that. You know.
Yeah. Oh, no, good stuff. Appreciate that. Thanks very much.
Okay. Thanks, Phil.